Us marketers are casual people, so I think we can always start. It doesn't matter if you're up in the line. Don't worry about it. Make your line. We're casual. We can do this. We can multitask, right? Thank you for being here. This is exciting. It's our annual meeting, and I believe, don't quote me on this, but I think this is the best attended annual meeting in the history of Visit San Antonio. We have 670 RSVPs. How cool is that? What a great sign of community involvement, and it's a great sign that if you're here, it means to us that our work matters. So we're very proud of that. So thank you. We also want to thank our main sponsor for our breakout session. TSB Studios is a partner of us, and we're really proud. We have Bernardo here with us. So I'm going to make sure that I stand right here so that we pick up the audio. Excellent. And Bernardo, the floor is yours.
All right. Well, thank you very much. So, we are a full-service video production company here, based here in San Antonio. We work on the multicultural space, so we do about 50-50 split between English and Spanish videos. Besides our video services, we also have an audio department that produces radio spots, original music, and audio mix. And we also have an animation department, which keeps growing, and now we produce motion graphics, 2D, and 3D animations. We've been doing this for over 20 years. Wow. And we work with brands like GMC, Ford, TurboTax, Frito-Lay's. And now, last year, we partnered with Visit San Antonio. And it's been a blast showcasing our city to the world.
Thank you
for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Awesome.
And you'll see a little bit of our work later today. We prepared a video. And you'll see some of us running around and recording this
Thank
event.
you.
Right, thank you.
Thank you, Bernardo, and thank you to TSB for sponsoring this breakout session. I'll tell you, TSB, it's been a pleasure to work with them. They have a can-do attitude where nothing is too much of a homework. They really go to bat for us, and we've been very satisfied with the partnership. So thank you guys very much for your sponsorship. So again, welcome. We are really proud to be here, and we have a lot to share. So today, we will be talking, myself, and for the ones that know me, I think most of you know me already, but for the ones who don't, I'm Andres Munoz, and I'm Chief Marketing Officer, and I'm going to be co-presenting with my dear friend, partner in crime, and which is Ms. Sude Lopez, and Sude Lopez is our Director of Marketing. She is a whirlwind of power and of energy, and we are proud. We make a very good team, and we're assembling what we think is the best team we've had so far in the history of Visit San Antonio to make very good marketing, and the numbers really back it up. So we're going to share a little bit of that. So thank you, Sue. It'll be soon. She will be co-presenting with me today. So let's go very quickly over what we're going to review. I'm going to walk you through a little bit of a market overview. What is the market doing? What is the research telling us? And what are we facing in year 2024? We're going to update you on where we ended up in our goals for fiscal year 2023, and we're going to look at our goals for 2024. Then Sue is going to walk us through the leisure plan, the trade plan, and international. Of course, there are other topics that we do in terms of marketing. There's the tourism side, there's the communication side, there's other sides of the business, and we wish we could do this, but they only gave us 45 minutes. So we need to make sure that we hit the main nuggets. You don't need to take photos of these. We will publish this presentation on our website, and you'll be able to see it. Therefore, no need to snap photos or whatever, or rush. There's a couple of charts that are a little bit of an eye chart, but you will be able to experience those as you download the presentation. So let's talk a little bit about the market overview. We are right on our way, right on pace of what was predicted to be the recovery from COVID. You can see the impact of COVID over the total visitation, but we're proud to report in 2022, we actually received almost 35 million visitors into San Antonio. That's a great number. Those are only domestic figures. On top of that, we have close to 2 million international travelers. So that puts us in close to 37 million visitors into San Antonio. So we're right on our way to getting back to where we were. The goal in 2019 was actually 41 million. So we're right on track to get to that number by the end of fiscal year 24. In terms of total direct spending, the economic impact of those visitors is $19 billion. That is a huge number. 19 billion with a B is a huge number. Therefore, it talks very well about the impact that all of our industry has over San Antonio. It's 140,000 employees, and 1 in 7 people in San Antonio are employed within our industry, our travel industry. Where do these travelers come from? 67%, this is no surprise, 67% actually come from the state of Texas. And that is a significant number, and it tells us where our bread and butter is. That is still our bread and butter. But however, the trend is coming down. It used to be probably 5 or 6 years ago where this number was about 72, 73%. It's on its way down, and that is actually very good news, because if you think about it, the expenditure of the traveler that comes from the outside of the region is much higher than the expenditure of the traveler that comes from close by. Therefore, it is good news because it helps the economic impact. You can see some of the states where we have a higher relevancy, and we want to continue to feed that as our marketing plan progresses. In terms of transportation, this is also no surprise. 10% comes from airline, as well as the vast majority actually drive into San Antonio. Well, the good news is there's significant room for opportunity. I know there's some folks from the airport here, and this is where we're going to grow in the future. And that comes from bringing travelers from a little bit further from domestic and from international, as you've heard in the news, and as you will hear later in the session. In terms of the trip booking time periods, this is a critical part of our business. This is a critical part of our marketing plan, because it's not about advertising during the summer for people to come in the summer. We need to make sure that we are advertising and marketing at the time when people are looking for inspiration. So the booking window in its majority is between the longer side of 3 weeks to 2 or 3 months before the travel happens. So we need to be on air basically 2 months or a month or 2 months before time to be part of the planning cycle and the booking cycle before travel happens. This is a congratulations to you guys. When a traveler comes to San Antonio, he doesn't come to San Antonio for coming to San Antonio. His experience doesn't happen necessarily in the thought of San Antonio. It happens at your locations, in a restaurant, in an attraction, at a hotel. If that experience is good, then the whole experience is good. Then he's gonna be talking about us as, I had a great time in San Antonio, and that's where he comes back and brings his cousins and his friends. So it's congratulations to you, because look at the ratings that customers that have come to San Antonio give us. We're an excellent destination to visit, and that doesn't necessarily happen in our competitive set. In terms of the average stay expenditure per traveler, we're outpacing our competitive set significantly. $507 in average expenditure per traveler is significantly higher than our competitive set as well. And when you look at the activity participation, which is San Antonio is actually the second from left to right, there's significantly higher participation of a variety of activities. It is about a whole bunch of activities that happen in San Antonio, not just coming to the Alamo or the Riverwalk. In terms of our expenditure or travel party size, it keeps on growing, and that is great news. The more people we bring in the group, the better off. We're right now, as to 2022, we're actually at 2.18. So it is a travel party size that keeps growing, and we want it to continue to grow. This is a snapshot of that DK Shiflett survey that we do every year. And what we want to attract is the attention to the bullets that are highlighted. The first one is the seasonality of the trip. The seasonality of the trip is it's an eye chart, but I'll read it quickly. Spring is 25%, summer is 33%, fall is 20%, and winter is 22%. If we compare that to last year, it was much more of an even kill, and that was right behind COVID. So what this tells us is that the consumer is starting to go to its normal pattern after COVID. The summer continues to be the stronger part of the year, and likely we want it to be. The consumer's behavior is going to go back to its point. But what happened this summer? We actually had a pretty bad summer this year. So we need to get ready. We're starting to talk to the community in general to see how can we all partner and do something special for when 100-degree hits, we're ready. And we're ready to go back to that experience to give a positive experience to that traveler, right? So we're starting to work with a community in search of how do we get prepared? How do we tweak our messaging to be a little bit more purposeful with being successful at bringing folks. In terms of our average expenditure, last year we knew it was an anomaly. Last year this number was $210 per person per trip. And per person per trip, yes. Per person per day. And that it actually came down to 157, and we know that this is part of the traveler going back to its normal consumption patterns. What is incredibly good news is when you look at the average length of stay, we're up to 3.37 days. And that is significant to all of our businesses. And the reason being is we have traditionally been known as a weekend destination. Fridays and Saturdays were our stronger days in occupation. But if we're starting to average 3 days, we might be involving Monday or we might be involving Thursday, right? So that's an important measure because it expands the possibilities of the hotel selling more room nights and bringing more destinations. So we need our marketing plan to keep on working on that so that we can expand that number. And any little measure that we grow in that will have significant benefits for the whole industry. And in terms of the average people in the group, 2.18, it continues to grow, and we want that to continue to grow. Separate study, we do an image and awareness studies. That is 3,000 surveys that go across the country with travelers, non-travelers, with all sorts of folks that potentially are travelers to see how we do in terms of awareness and what do they think about our ads. In terms of awareness, we're very similar to the patterns before COVID. We have a 6% top of mind, and top of mind, what it means, it's actually the acid test. You address a person, where is you going to be your next vacation? Where's the destination you want to go? Out of the cold. That tells you exactly how much awareness do you have. And we have actually 6%. That is expected. It is a very difficult needle to move, and it takes time to move that needle, but we're surely wanting to continue to grow. The good news there is we actually outpace Dallas, Houston, and Austin. And that is very good, especially in Texas. So within that Texas customer, that is our 67%, we're in a very strong position. We need to keep feeding. Where it gets a little bit dicier is when you go out of Texas and out of our region. And there, our awareness, we still need to do a lot of work. So we need to continue working on growing our marketing plan and growing our investment outside of the region. This is totally an eye chart, so don't worry about it. But I guess it's incredibly good news because, perfect. San Antonio is the first line.
San Antonio, where the bright green.
Where the bright green is. And what this does is actually measures what are those strong attributes that make us who we are, that make us strong? And how does that compare against the competition? So if I only read the top 5, historic sites, great place for me to stroll around, good value for my money, it's a walkable city, charming, great place for my family, a relaxing atmosphere. All of those are traits of the experience that travelers have in our destination. And when you look at the next one right next to it, it is a little bit of a mixed bag, Austin. And when you look at Dallas, it's all red. Excellent news, right? Excellent news, right?
Dallas, Houston, and Austin, maybe?
Look at New York, look at Chicago, look at Atlanta, all of these full of red. What it tells us is that we are a special destination. We are a destination that people look at and they love the experience coming into San Antonio. We need to continue to hone on all those attributes. And when you see it in detail, you'll be able to get a little bit more of detail. But we're proud of that. And we need to continue working in that direction and to continue to show the authentic side of San Antonio. That is what makes us different and makes us unique. So where were we in our marketing goals? As you all recall, online engagement, OLE, online engagement, is one of the key measures. And what online engagement means is every time that somebody has some interaction with our brand, that could be a like, that could be a video view, that could be a share, that could be a comment, that could be any type of interaction with our ads or with our brands, we count it as an online engagement. Our goal was to get to 55 million this year. Well, guess what happened? We got to 112 million. 112 million online engagements. Wow. It came to the point where, hey, we must have made a mistake here. So we needed to go back and look at, all right, did we make a mistake? And no, actually we didn't make a mistake in projecting because we've been progressing coming out of COVID. However, the bump was so significant that we had to look at what happened. And what happened was we actually, at the beginning of the year, we were seeing our numbers in terms of our social media starting to slip versus our competition. And what they're starting to slip is not necessarily in the amount of followers, but in the engagement of each follower. What were they doing? And our competitors were starting to outpace us. So we changed a little bit of strategies, and what we did is we brought a new set of skills in-house into Visit San Antonio, and we brought a social media manager. She is a ball of energy. Most of you already know her, Rosie. And what we did, there you go, Rosie, where are you? So what we did was actually purposefully put boots on the ground and make sure that we are not in the office. We don't need to be in the office. We need to be outside of the office, and we need to be talking about the destination every day, taking pictures, sharing, making comments, keeping it fun, entertaining, and authentic. Look at the result. Every single measure that we had actually has outpaced not only us, but when you compare against the competitive destinations, this was last year's chart. We were bleeding in every count. We were outpaced in every count. Here we are, we're leading in every count, just in 1 year. So hopefully we will continue to do that and get that significant number, hopefully, again, of online engagements. Online engagements don't make money. Online engagements is just online engagement, but we're in a business and we need to make money. So what we do is the way we buy our ads is actually pretty cool and unique, because we actually install a code in every ad where we're able to track who has seen it. How many devices have seen the ads outside of San Antonio? And when we take a look at that, we are actually able to track for 18 months if that device showed up in San Antonio later on. It doesn't matter why or how they did it. But if we know that that device saw the ad and ended up here, well, we have a full conversion. We take our surveys and we look at the averages of how much every one of those devices spent to understand the direct impact of our ads. Well, happy to report, we generated with only our digital ads, 987, almost 1 million devices ended up showing in San Antonio. Those are incremental trips. And the impact of that is $302 million direct result from ads. So we need to continue on that trip. If you think about it versus our investment, for every dollar that Visit San Antonio invested in digital ads, $56 came back. Phenomenal results, right? That doesn't include TV, that doesn't include radio, because those are not trackable, or billboards or what have you. So it's an accumulation of things that we're doing right. But when we look at what we can directly track and take credit for, it is a significant number that we need to keep on feeding. In terms of Real and True, we launched over a year ago, we launched a new campaign called Real and True, and we wanted to make sure that while the results are looking great, let's ask the people, how do they see our campaign? And happy to report it is a great success, as it showcased the attractions and activities that are unique to San Antonio, and it also actually talks about the authenticity of San Antonio. And if you go back to the attributes, we understand that authenticity is what makes us unique. We're not a glass, we're not big, we're not all those things. We're unique, we're authentic, we're historic, we're quaint. We're all those little things that make it charming, and that's what we need to continue to advertise. In terms of, also in terms of impact ratings of what does that campaign mean and what does it generate, it is highly likely within the state of Texas that when they see the campaign, they will plan a trip in the next 3 years. And it happens with success in Texas. It happens in our Tier 2 markets, which is outside the region. And it happens with significance with other national, which is where we need to grow. So we're on the right track with the right campaign and hopefully with the right investment to grow further along. How are we going to do that? Well, we need to set some lofty goals. And the way we set some lofty goals is we had a significant success this year. We need to repeat it. 112 million online engagements. It's something that, if you think about it, growing 10% that number is 10 million. That is a lot. So we need to make sure, one of the things that we wanted to make sure is that we need to confirm that 100 million online engagements was not an anomaly. We need to repeat the exercise. So our board was happy, and our marketing committee was happy to comment on, hey, it is a big homework. It is much more than our competitors. Let's see if we can repeat it and do it again. So hopefully we will do that. In terms of our ROI, we want to grow it to 56-1, which is also flat. It is a significant number that we're driving in. And our increased visitors, bringing the overall goal by 2025 is to bring increased visitors to 41 million. We are also looking at the occupancy. If we take our competitive set, because of the lack of corporate and business travel, our occupancy usually traditionally stands number 5 within our competitive set. We need to grow that by 1. We want to be number 4. And if we continue on that track, this year we actually had a couple of months where we were number 1. So hopefully we will continue to keep growing that pie. So with that, and to walk you through how we're going to get here, Ms. Sude Lopez is going to take you through the marketing strategy.
So as you can see, this is fresh data, brand new data that we wanted to bring you guys, because really this is the data that we're using to formulate what our marketing plan is going to be for next year. So as you can see, we did grow a lot, but I did see a lot of opportunities, and I love opportunities. So everybody loves a good challenge. So this challenge, we're super excited with our new marketing strategies. Okay.
You want to switch? Because I think it reads it better from here. There you go.
Aha. Oh. All right. Our number one strategy, as we talked about, was the evolution of the Real and True campaign. It performed very well. As many of you guys know, we actually have a brand new agency that we have contracted, and that's the Rest of the World, in partnership with Chamoy and the Predictive Data Lab team. They're here today, and they have a huge task, which is to help us evolve the campaign to the next level. We're actually jumping up from a great foundation. The campaign is performing very well. But what does it mean in terms of evolving the campaign so it continues to perform the way that we want it? Also, what we want to do is optimize our content across all platforms. And I'll go into a little bit of details to what that means. We have in an arsenal a lot of great things that allows us to tell our story. So we want to make sure that everything that we do from our own channels is also very integrated with everything that we're doing from a paid perspective. The next one is optimizing our target audiences and evolving our media strategies. What happened last year worked. We had actually 4 personas, if you recall, that we were working with, and that performed very well. But we have a lot of opportunity because our awareness, as you saw at the national level, is not at the level that it needs to be. So we need to expand. If there's one word that you guys need to walk out of this room about the marketing plan, it's about expansion and new visitor growth. New visitor growth. Therefore, we're going to be evolving our media strategies to meet that. And we continue to evolve into our key markets, which we know we have our bread and butter markets, which are going to drive our visitation to San Antonio. We want to protect that, but we want to go beyond into other markets at the regional, national, and international level. The next thing that we want to do in terms of our strategies is to drive demand to the local businesses by increasing occupancy. As you will see from our content on our social media management, Rossi goes to a lot of your locations, really help to drive the occupancy and making sure that we drive business for all of you. It's part of our strategy. I'm going to jump to the next one, which is also about enhancing our co-op partnerships to help drive that demand. One of the things that we did last year was successful is really working with big hotel chains in our co-ops and several attractions in our co-ops. Every single co-op performed very well in terms of the return on investment. Right, Sandrita? From a museum standpoint, Natural Bridge Caverns, the hotels, we all perform very well. I do encourage all of you guys to partnership with us in our co-ops because they really deliver for your business, where we actually develop customized media plans to drive your objectives at the same time that we're driving visitation to the city. And the last one is optimization of the Riverwalk. As you guys know, the Riverwalk is our number one attraction in Texas, and we need to make sure that we tell the story of the Riverwalk, not just outside Texas, but also in the region, but also to our locals. San Antonio needs to come down to the Riverwalk and enjoy its beauty and all the things that we do on a monthly basis. All right. I don't know if you guys saw, but we just launched a brand new website. If you go now to visitsanantonio.com, we have designed a website that is going to help us optimize this content and tell our stories. This website is going to be actually telling people what's happening this week in San Antonio, what's trending, what's going on. It's going to be loaded with videos. Most importantly, it's going to be dynamically served, meaning if you're a family, in the homepage, you're going to be actually serving content that is special for families. If you're an adult, the content will be dynamically served only for adults. So we're super excited about that. Also in the homepage, at the bottom, we're incorporating user-generated content. We see in social media that a lot of people post and upload amazing pictures of San Antonio. So we now have plugged that into our website so that people can upload their photos and they actually appear on our website. We're super excited about that because we can create all the content in the world, but people that actually tell the best content of our city are the people that come down to San Antonio. Super excited about the website, and we're also going to be building another website for the Riverwalk. In progress right now is what we're calling an interactive map. This is going to become available about a month from now. We're super excited about this map because it's going to showcase all the neighborhoods of the city. And when you click on one of the neighborhoods, it's going to tell you the number of restaurants that we have in that neighborhood, the number of hotels, things to do, where to shop, where to stay. It's going to be phenomenal. So I'm super excited about that map, and you'll be the first ones to see it, and we'll announce it as soon as it comes out. Let's talk about our action plan. In terms of our marketing targets, as I mentioned, we have three main targets: our leisure plan, our international plan, and very important, our trade plan. Let's talk about our budget that we have for this year. We have a little bit of an incremental this year, which has allowed us to really put more money in media. I think what you guys saw from the research is that when we actually show our ads, the likelihood to visit San Antonio increases. So we need to make sure that we put as much money as we can in our media budget, which is what we call our working budget. That's 77.3% that actually increased from last year. And that 23% that you see on this is what we call our non-working dollars. That's to pay for production, agency fees, research, and other things that actually go into making sure that we have the content to be fed into our media. Our budget this year is very healthy. For leisure, we have about $8.3 million that we're going to be allocated for the whole year. Trade, we also increase it to $750,000, and international as well has been increased. And we'll go into a little bit of details into each one of them. Well, let's get started with the marketing leisure plan. As I mentioned, I think the biggest thing for our plan this year, as I already mentioned, is drawing in new visitors. That's the number one opportunity that we have at hand. But we need to protect our core markets. That's our bread and butter. You saw that 67% of visitation is coming from Texas. So we need to make sure that we continue to feed that into the pipeline. But we need to go outside and really get more eyeballs of people that have never considered San Antonio. You saw that national chart. When people are asked, when you think about traveling to a destination, which one is the first one that comes to mind? San Antonio is not at that level. So we need to make sure that we're out telling our story through our paid media and also our communications plans. I know this is a bit of an art chart, but it is our calendar of priorities for the whole year. Why this is important? San Antonio has a story to tell every single month of the year. You guys know that. So we have a lot of paid media that's going to help us tell the stories, but we also have our own channels. We have our websites. We also just contracted a local blogger who's going to be writing our blogs for San Antonio, our social media that is doing phenomenal. Newsletters, we also brought that in-house to enhance our email marketing, especially with the deprecation of cookies. We need to make sure that our emails are targeted and highly relevant and personalized. Our visitors guide has actually been called out one of the best visitors guides in the state of Texas, and our Rio magazine. But when you look at each one of the quarters, spring has a beautiful story to tell about San Antonio, very different from our summer, very different from our fall and our holidays. As Andres mentioned, trip planning or inspiration happens 2 to 3 months before people actually start booking. Therefore, our inspirations for spring is going to start on January 8th, as a matter of fact, because we want people coming out of the holidays to start thinking about my spring vacation and where I want to take my family or where I want to go. So our spring advertising is going to start in January, and then our summer, this summer for us is going to be a critical year. We really need to make sure that we give it all the efforts that we can, and we're starting in April to really start pushing for our summer messaging. Then in August, we flip to fall, and you guys probably have seen already our commercials and advertising on holidays. In addition to that, if you go on a monthly basis, there's still a lot of things that we want to support. These individual campaigns that you see here on a month-by-month basis, they're performing very strong. They're small media buys, but the return on investment in those media buys are very strong. We have Dream Week, Rodeo, Spring Break, Fiesta, which is happening next year. We want to really focus on that. The Eclipse, which we know is going to draw a lot of visitation. Juneteenth, July 4th, Hispanic Heritage Month, Tasting Texas, Holidays on Houston, and Alamo Bowl. And then we also have the campaign supporting our Riverwalk campaign, our Riverwalk events, Mardi Gras, St. Patrick's Fiesta, Pride River Parade, Armed Forces, Drift and Dine, Day of the Dead, and our Holiday River Parade, which you all go this year, is going to be fantastic. So as you can see, this is a city that has so many stories to tell. We don't have the problem of Houston. They just really don't have nothing to say, right?
Absolutely.
They're just horrific.
I wouldn't want to be in their shoes.
I know. I don't want to be in that marketing department. So, as I mentioned, our media strategy is a 3-pronged strategy. Our number 1 strategy is battle tested. Why do I want to say battle tested? Because we want to protect our bread and butter, all right? That's the number 1 thing. And that's why we're going to protect it with our audiences and tactics in our tier 1, tier 2, tier markets. The next one is going to be the most important, is expansion. The focus here is going to be driving new visitors and increase that market penetration in our tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 markets, and elevate, which are specific tactics that are going to help us exponentially grow. From a budget standpoint, what does that mean? 45% of the media budget is going to go into the battle tested, and 45% is going to go into expansion. We're really hoping that with this media strategy, we're going to get an audience size that is large enough, a universe, to really come to San Antonio if you look at the estimated universe sizes that we have calculated for each one of those. Our tier markets, as you guys have seen here, of course, tier 1 markets is going to be what our bread and butters are, as well as our neighboring states. Tier 2 and tier 3, as you guys see, are more on the regional and national level. Everything that has a yes is one of our non-stops, but also we want to make sure that people that are coming to those non-stop destinations, we're feeding them into those non-stop destinations to come to San Antonio. Very robust plan in terms of our coverage from a national perspective. And here we go. Our persona expansion, as I mentioned, these were our 4 personas that we did very well last year. We had 2 personas that were families and 2 personas that were all adults. You did see the increase in number on the travel size went up, and that's because of the efforts of continuing to talk to our families. Our families are very important. We need to bring more of them. So therefore, we need to make sure that our family segments are very protected. Our new visitors expansion, as you see here, these are people that have never heard of San Antonio, of seeing San Antonio. We have a description for each one of these. Very happy to share with you who they are. But for example, we have a persona called that I've been everywhere couple. And I've never been anywhere else. I've been to every single place, so why should I go to San Antonio? We're gonna be targeting people so we can put San Antonio in their map for them. Our media mix, as you saw from an online engagement performance from last year, is very strong in making sure that we deliver, again, those 112 million online engagements, highly digital, but this year more than ever, we're gonna focus more on video. We know that when we actually tell our stories through video and able to actually show a lot of different attractions, people get excited about coming to our city. And then lastly, as Andres mentioned, this is the allocation of our online engagements projection for the entire year. And as you can see, this summer, we heard the community. We heard it was a very difficult summer, and we want to make sure that we're putting all our efforts and our marketing efforts to bring in San Antonio this summer and have one of our best summers ever. So this plan will help us to achieve that. All right, let's talk about trade. As you guys know, trade is probably one of our biggest verticals for Visit San Antonio in bringing groups and conventions to our city. Hence the reason as to why we also increase our marketing spend. There are 2 types of targets that we actually focus on the trade plan. One of them is the corporate planner, and those are the people that actually bring in companies to San Antonio for their conferences. Think of them as American Express or Apple or Home Depot that want to hold their conferences here in San Antonio. And association planners that are 40% of our budget is going to go to them. Why we're spending more time on corporate planner is because we see that as an opportunity. You're gonna hear in the general session how strong the performance was of our efforts last year and why we want to continue with that trend. The business verticals that we're gonna be focusing on trade are health and medical, athletics and sports, IT and cybersecurity, and advanced manufacturing. In terms of how we're actually gonna be allocating our spend, is going to be 51% in our priority markets and 49% on nationwide. Primary markets that you actually see here are places where you actually have very strong corporate offices. So for example, Denver, Minneapolis, Dallas-Fort Worth, Chicago, because we want to make sure that we talk to those meeting planners to come down to San Antonio. All right, let's go to the next slide. It's temperamental. And the media mix for this is also highly digital, and we're focusing on key sponsorships, making sure that we are talking to those planners where they're actually seeing the need for our messaging for San Antonio. Let's talk international. International. There you go, international. The theme of our annual meeting today is Global Horizons, and you're gonna hear a lot about that in the general session as we go in. We have very strong market priorities that we're going into next year. From a marketing standpoint, our priorities are going to be Mexico, Germany, China, United Kingdom, and Canada. Mexico is our bread and butter. That's where the bulk of our international visitors are coming from. Germany, as you guys know, we're gonna have the launch of our first flight to Frankfurt starting next May, and we've been working very closely with the Condor marketing team to launch our efforts in conjunction with them to bring people from Germany to come down to San Antonio nonstop. That's a very strong effort that we're doing. Canada, we continue to drive the demand, and United Kingdom continue to establish awareness. You'll hear from the panel today for each one of them. The one that we're super excited is about China. We just launched China representation, but also in China, we're gonna have a very robust social media plan where we just opened our WeChat and Weibo accounts for Visit San Antonio. So welcome you guys to download WeChat and Weibo so you can start seeing our content. China is all about local influencers. So we're going to be bringing Chinese influencers in the spring to experience the city so that they can actually flood their social media in Weibo and WeChat about our destination. And I believe that's a wrap, right?
Awesome.
Questions?
Yes. So by 9:45, we got to be out of the room, so we have actually 10 minutes to answer any questions. Of course, as you all know, you know where to find us, and if there's anything that is left out, feel free to reach out. The best thing that we can do with all of you is how do we partner? We have, within our media dollars, we actually have identified and earmarked dollars that we don't purposefully spend out as part of the normal plan, because we want to wait and see what the community needs and how do you want to partner. If you want to partner with us and you have some marketing dollars there, we will match you dollar for dollar. Therefore, we'll take your dollars, double them, and make a mini media plan that is custom made for your business where we're driving people to your business. That is excellent. It helps everybody. It helps us to raise more dollars and to have more media dollars out there. And it helps you because it makes the experience of that traveler that we saw it is already excellent to be even better. So it is a win-win situation where we want to continue to grow that pot. So thank you for that, and we'll open it up for any questions. Please don't be shy.
How you are getting information to China. How are you getting that information to Mexico?
In terms of our media plan?
What's that?
A media plan you're talking about?
Yes.
Yes, we're going to have a media plan dedicated to Mexico in our key markets. We have a brand new market that we're opening up, that's Querétaro, with the new flight that is launching. Our paid plan is designated to focus on the personas there. And also their seasonality. So you know they have very different seasonality than we have, like Semana Santa is one of the biggest one, and then going to the summer they have a different holidays schedule than we do. So every year our media plan for Mexico is very solid and robust, and it's bringing great results as well.
So
Just-
are you doing the same thing through WeChat, or are you doing it through the same social media that we have?
WeChat is only in China, so it's only.
That's what I'm asking.
Oh yeah, so WeChat, it will be only in China. Chinese consumers right now, when they have a Visit San Antonio account that they can actually follow in WeChat and Weibo, we actually have an agency in China that develops the content for us every month, and we actually serve that content on WeChat and Weibo every month about San Antonio, in addition to the influencers that we bring. But I don't know if
Some
you're
specifics. For Mexico, for example, we actually have an agency in Mexico that helps us do the social media with somebody with boots on the ground, being
Yes.
able to speak with relevancy to the Mexican
Yes.
audience. So I'll give you an
sorry.
example. For Mexico, everybody thinks that the biggest driver is shopping. Well, yes, it is. However, they see us as an entertainment hub to come see the Spurs, to come see concerts that don't play in Mexico, that can come and play here. That type of entertainment, when you have somebody that understands that reality of the Mexican traveler, he will post with the
Yeah.
right messaging.
And
So
we-
that's part of the
and
strategy.
we have our
we do.
social media channels in Spanish. Same situation. Our agency in Mexico develops the content on a monthly basis with the key priorities for Mexico.
I'll come back to you in a second.
Very interesting that you guys are focusing on China, but I would think that shouldn't be like a more broader view, like a tri-dimensional, like Japan and Korea?
It is.
In connection with that?
Yes, yes and no. We need to find our priorities, right? Unfortunately, the world is incredibly big, and we have a finite amount of dollars. We hope that we could reach it further on, but we do have a global plan. You're going to hear today in the general session, Mark talking about we just hit stage 2 of our global plan, and this is in accordance to that. So hopefully, as the snowball continues to grow,
We will open up more markets.
I could ask the same question about Latin America. Why are we in countries in Latin America? Well, it's part of the plan, and it's part of a scaled growth that will help us get there in the future.
Question about the results and the real and true.
Yes.
And the online engagement.
Yes.
Did that also include the IPW, or was that separate?
Great
Separate.
question. It is separate. And it is separate because when you think of IPW were 5,000 people that were wholesale buyers and media. So it's only 5,000 people though. However, it's who those 5,000 people were, that really matters, because it's like buying a sales force of 5,000 that the next day after IPW, they're going out and selling our destination to millions of people. So whatever they generated per se in the meeting is not what's relevant, it's what they're going to do in the future. So it is part of the multiplying effect of IPW that is its strength. Right here, Taryn.
Hope kind of touched on what I was going to ask. If you guys could touch on the impact IPW and CVent are going to have, nationally and internationally.
I love it. Thank you for that question. So IPW is expected to have, and I'm going to go back in my numbers just by heart, but I believe it's a 3-year impact of over $200 million in extra expenditure from travelers from all over the world coming
International.
in. International travelers only, from all over the world.
See that.
The impact of that is a longer scale, and it is trying to seed the brand as part of Global Horizons. So it's a bigger picture thought that is seeding our name to help that awareness go beyond the region. CVent is the equivalent of IPW, but with meeting planners. CVent is a technology portal by which the meeting planners use to help identify leads, right? Or the other cities actually get leads from. So they're gonna come and meet. That is the highest attended meeting planner convention that has always met in Las Vegas. And for first time ever in their history, they're gonna get out of Las Vegas, and guess where they're coming? June of 2024, they're coming to San Antonio. It's the first time ever. So IPW was the first in the last 20 years ever to come to Texas. It came now, and now CVent, that is the IPW of meeting planners, coming into San Antonio. That tells you that our awareness is out there, and that we're a great destination for all sorts of travel, and we're proud of that.
But CVent is domestic, so
Thank
you'll
you for that
see that we're gonna treat it almost like a mini IPW in terms of preparing and really catering to that audience, since they're all meeting planners. So, very good.
I'm very excited about the initiatives you're taking with a lot of different segments. But what about Department of Defense and military? Because that's one of our, as a military city, that's one of our top accounts.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Certainly, as defense spending is increasing, what are we doing to reach those markets?
It is, there's a lot of conversations happening with the military folks. We actually have developed significant tools. We're going through a little bit of challenges with the military per se. They have very big restrictions on being able to market to the military families. They will not allow us to use their channels to talk to those families because they're not in a commercial mode. And they're very protective of those families. We've made good strides. We actually developed an app, a tool, where the military families can actually come in and download that app into their phones, and they get discounts all over the city. So that is a great example of something. They actually stopped it and said, we can't promote that. We're going through it. We're going through the challenges. Now, that doesn't mean that there's not an audience. Absolutely there is an audience. There's over 1,500 military graduates that come and graduate every week. Imagine the volume overall, and their families coming in to visit those graduations. So we need to continue to grow that pot. That said, on the marketing side, we want to continue to talk to them, but they will come anyways, right? Because they're gonna graduate. What we need is to give that family the best experience possible so that they whistle and come back with their families to San Antonio. So we're trying to engage with them.
Yeah, and to add to what Andres is saying, on the new market expansion targets, we have that identified. People that are more keen to military backgrounds and everything, we have that persona identified so that we can also message to them about coming to San Antonio. So it's both a combination also from
All right, so we're ready to go, but please feel free to email us with any questions. When you see the plan, feel free to talk to us. Thank you very much for coming. How are you? Very nice to meet you. Awesome. Nice to meet you. Thank you for coming.
Hi, I'm Sue.